Before getting into the fun part, let's just get to know a little of Swizterland first. Switzerland is a tiny, mountainous nation in Central Europe. This landlocked nation, which is situated between France and Italy, is roughly the size of New Jersey. Austria, Germany, and Liechtenstein are its other neighbors. Most people reside on the plateau, which is situated between the Jura Mountains in the north and the high Alps in the south. The southern mountainous region has a small population. One of the richest nations on Earth is Switzerland. Watches and clocks made in Switzerland are highly regarded. In Switzerland, there isn't a single official tongue. Swiss German, French, and Italian are just a few of the languages that people use. The majority of the Swiss Alps, 13,000 feet, 4,000 meters, or higher elevations, are covered in snow. Although Dufourspitze is taller at 15,203 feet, 4,634 meters, the Matterhorn, which is 14,692 feet, 4,478 meters, high, is the most well-known peak. Scientists are concerned that the Swiss Alps glaciers have lost a significant amount of their ice cover over the previous 40 years. It's possible that this is connected to climate change. Rapid glacier melting could result in flooding of the villages below. Switzerland's mountains are home to the majority of its wildlife. In the early 1800s, the mountain goat species ibex was almost completely eradicated by hunting. Over 15,000 ibex now reside in the Swiss Alps as a result of the species' reintroduction. Marmots and the goat-like chamois are two additional potential encounters for hikers. Deer, rabbits, foxes, badgers, squirrels, and numerous bird species also reside in the forests of Switzerland. The 26 cantons or states that make up the country's confederation are known as states. Presidents serve as the head of state. The Federal Assembly elects the Federal Council's members to the positions of president and vice president. They are appointed for a year. In December, elections typically take place. For 4-year terms, representatives from the cantons are chosen to serve in the assembly. Now let's get into our places to visit in Switzerland. Grindelwald. You can visit Grindelwald village. The main street, Dorfstrasse, is exactly what you'd expect of a Swiss alpine village. The street is lined with wooden chalets with steeply pitched roofs and windowsills decorated with colorful flower pots. Among the most popular services available are hotels, cafes, clothing and adventure shops, as well as souvenir and watch shops. In the heart of the city's Eiger shopping center, directly above an underground parking garage, is a sizable Coop supermarket. A cheese shop, a butchery, and a bakery are among the independent specialty shops that can be found in Grindelwald. Tennis, golf, swimming pools both inside and outside, and horse-drawn carriage rides are additional summer activities in Grindelwald. Eiger Express. The German name for the Eiger Glacier is Eigergletscher, and the Eiger Express connects Grindelwald and it. The town of Grindelwald is where the terminal is situated, and that is where you can get to it. Visitors can view the renowned Eiger North Face from the gondola lift. Visitors can board the Jungfrau Railway and travel straight to the Jungfraujoch from the mountain station. As a result, it takes 40 to 50 minutes to get from Grindelwald to Jungfraujoch. Between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on every day, it is in operation. Depending on the season, the operating hours vary. Additionally, they do maintenance work and occasionally close for a few days. First Cliff Walk. The First Cliff Walk is an elevated walkway that provides breathtaking views because it is built into the side of the mountain face. The walkway ends at the terrace of Bergrestaurant after winding around the mountain face and crossing a sheer drop. You can still take in the views from the viewing platform next to the Bergrestaurant if you're not quite up for the adrenaline rush of the cliff walk. Standing on the 45-meter-long platform's end will make you feel as though you are floating above the valley below. But Chalpsy Lake. The 9-kilometer round-trip hike to Lake Bachalpsee, which is 2,265 meters above sea level, is one of the most well-known. If you're fortunate enough to visit on a sunny day, you'll be rewarded with a reflection of the imposing alpine peaks in the lake. The lake is still worth going to, and it's a great place to have a picnic by the still water, even if you miss the reflection. It takes about 50 minutes to hike in each direction to Lake Bachalpsee. You can stroll through alpine flower-filled meadows in the summer and enjoy views of the lush green valley below, which is TED with alpine chalets and grazing cows. After the initial fairly steep ascent from the first summit, the path is primarily flat or undulating. Open from the end of May to the middle of October. Take your own food and drink because Lake Bakalpsi has no place to buy them. Scheinige Platte. The route from First to Scheinige Platte, via Bakalpsi, is another well-liked but considerably longer trail. The 15-kilometer hike, rated as difficult, takes about 6 hours to complete. The trail travels through rocky terrain, grassy meadows, and high alpine terrain, which is occasionally covered in snow even in the summer. At 2614 meters above sea level, the trail's highest point, the views are exceptional. By spending the night at a hotel on the Fallhorn or a hut on the Mandlinen, it is possible to break the hike. From Scheinige Platte to Wilderswil, available only from late May to late October, you can take the Cogwheel Railway in order to get back to Grindelwald by train, where you can then change to a regular train. The trip takes roughly 1 hour and 20 minutes. Vevey, Old Town. You'll undoubtedly travel to nearby Vevey while visiting Montreux, Switzerland, whether by taking a stroll along the Chemin Fleury or sailing on the lake. Here is what you can find in this lovely town. Vevey's alluring old town is located at the end of the Chemin Fleury, just a few kilometers west along the lake. The Grande Place, the city's lakeside central square, begs for a pit stop for coffee and a pastry, while its winding, stone-clad streets are pedestrianized and TED with independent shops, tiny bistros, and the studios of artists and craftsmen that are just waiting to be discovered. Aigle Castle. Château d'Aigle is a captivating medieval building surrounded by vineyards that was once a residence for a number of knights and nobles. It was later used as a prison until 1976, when it was transformed into the Vine and Wine Museum that you can now find. But even if you're not a fan of wine, it's still worth going to the castle to admire its tall walls, rounded tower corners, and attractive red-tiled roofs. At least twice an hour, trains leave Montreux for Aigle. 10 minutes are required for the trip. From the train station, it takes 15 minutes to get to the castle. Bern. Bern, the capital of Switzerland, is frequently skipped over when planning a trip to Europe, but it has a lot to offer tourists. Bern, a historic city that was added to UNESCO's World Heritage List in 1983, is located in the Swiss Mittelland region, and is easily accessible from many of Switzerland's more well-known tourist destinations. One of Bern's most significant landmarks is the Clock Tower, which served as the city's first gate and is still standing today. Even now, more than 800 years later, you can still observe the hourly movements of the clockwork figures and marvel at the elaborate clock face that was added in 1530. You are in the Altstadt, Old Town, to the east of the clock tower, where you can explore the Laubengange, a network of nearly 6 kilometers of covered arcades. There are numerous cafes, restaurants, gift shops, boutiques, galleries, and more along Europe's longest covered shopping promenade. It's simple to pass the time looking through shops or sipping coffee while deciding which Swiss watch to buy. Rhine Falls. Rhine Falls, also known as Rhine Falls, provides both tourists and residents with a magnificent spectacle. The largest waterfall in Europe, at 150 meters wide and 23 meters high. Numerous tourists are enthralled by its charms all throughout the year. Given that the best months to visit the Rhine Falls are July and August, a trip to the falls should definitely be included on your list of summertime activities in Zurich. Organized tours leaving from Zurich are the best way to visit them because of how easy it is to get there and because a guide is always present. You can move around at your leisure and make the most of your trip if you travel with this way. Additionally, you can always rent a car from one of the many businesses at Zurich Airport like Sixt, where rentals start at €37 per day. Bus transportation is a good choice for getting from Zurich to Rhine Falls because it is much less expensive and only slightly slower than trains. The bus is the least expensive option because tickets cost only €2. Want to see more of travel videos? Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment below.